Hearthstone Battlegrounds is Hearthstone's 8-player auto battler game mode. If you've played games like Teamfight Tactics or Auto Chess, it's similar and you'll love it just as much as you like the other ones. Here's everything you need to know. The goal of Battlegrounds is to be the last player standing in your lobby. You do this by first picking a hero to play as. Each hero has their own hero power that has its own effect, so choose whatever one makes you feel happy again. Hover over your hero at the beginning of the game or on the left side of the screen to see your hero powers. After you've picked your hero, you'll start the game by buying minions in the recruit phase, then battling in a combat phase where you'll deal damage to your opponent if you win or take damage if you lose. When you reach 0 health, it's game over and you feel ashamed of yourself. If you want to win Battlegrounds, you need to understand the best way to recruit minions and more importantly, how each minion tribe works. You recruit a minion by dragging the minion from Bob's Tavern on the top half of the board to your hero portrait at the bottom half. It will always cost 3 gold to recruit a minion. From there, you can either drag the minion from your hand to the bottom half of the board to play it, or drag it to Bartender Bob's icon on the top of the screen to sell it for 1 gold. You start off with 3 gold and gain 1 gold after every combat phase. This gold caps off at 10 gold total. Every player will have access to the same amount of gold at the start of each turn, but using your gold well is key if you want to gain the most advantage. If you buy 3 of the same minion, you'll get a triple. This will cause the 3 copies of the minion to combine and become golden. The stats and buffs that the minion have will be combined into 1, and the minion's base effect will be upgraded if it can. Once you play the golden minion, you'll get a triple reward card, which will allow you to discover a minion from a higher tavern tier. Discovering a minion means you pick 1 out of 3 options. These minions you discover are great because they're usually stronger than the ones you already have and can make your other minions stronger. The power level of all the minions are grouped into tavern tiers. The higher the tavern tier, the more powerful the minion. You can upgrade your tavern tier at the cost of the indicated amount of gold beside Bartender Bob. Once you do this, you'll have access to every minion which belongs to that tavern tier and the ones which belong in the tavern tier below it. If you want to know every minion from every tavern tier, go to the Hearthstone Battlegrounds Wikipedia where they have a full list of Battleground minions. You'll notice that some minions will have a minion tribe attached to them. Using the synergies in the minion tribes is crucial if you want to get a good build. So let's have a look. The Beast Tribe focuses on buffs during the combat phase. The best way this is done is with Monstrous Macaw triggering the death rattle of a minion, then having Baron Rivendell multiply that buff. But there are also synergies involving a beast dying and giving your other beasts a buff. Demons are good at creating big statted minions, but admittedly, it's extremely difficult to do well, and when they do, it's often outshined by other tribes. They have lots of taunt minions, which when combined with Soul Juggler can deal lots of damage through the sacrifice of smaller demons. The Dragon Tribe likes buffing other dragons when they're on the board. Their main late game strategy is to use cards like Caligos, Arcane Aspect to combine with Battle Cries and get lots of stats on their dragons, then use Nadina to give them Divine Shield. Elementals like giving other elementals stats during the recruit phase. Synergies involving upgrading their tavern tiers and refreshing help them do this too. Mechs use Divine Shield and Death Rattles to gain an advantage. They use the magnetic mechanic, which means whenever a minion with magnetic is played on the left side of a mech, the minion will attach to the mech and give it its stats and effects. Murlocs are dependent on battle cries to gain stats, but with the combination of Brand's Bronzebeard with other Murlocs and SI Sephin, it's so stupid, they can gain the one-hit KO poisonous ability along with great stats. Pirates like golden minions getting gold and playing lots of pirates quickly. They've got cards that can buff pirates when you add a card to your hand and also when you play pirates too, so you can potentially bounce pirates from Bob's Tavern to your hand to get stats. Basically, this build is dependent on how quickly you can play pirates in 1 turn. The Quillboar tribe is the only tribe which can give you blood gems. Blood gems give any minion you want a 1/1 buff in stats. Some Quillboar minions will give you blood gems and other Quillboar minions will get a buff when you play a blood gem on them. Not all minion tribes will be available in 1 game of Battlegrounds. The starting screen will show you what minions are available in that specific game, but you can also hover over the cards on the right side of your screen to remind yourself. Now, most Battleground games follow a pattern at the beginning of the game, which is best if you want to maximize your gold and tavern level ups. Just follow this pattern for your first 7 turns and you'll know how to start almost every game of Battlegrounds. On turn 1, you'll have 3 gold and you can buy a minion. If you're lucky, you can buy a minion which summons another minion. Then you can sell it later in the game. On turn 2, you can upgrade your tavern tier, which will cost 4 gold. Note that the tavern tier gets more expensive when you upgrade it. There is a base cost to every tavern tier shown right here. And after the battle phase, the current cost of the tavern tier you're on will be reduced by 1. On turn 3, you'll have 5 gold to spend. What you want to do here is use that token minion you got from turn 1 and sell it so you'll have 6 gold to buy 2 minions. If you didn't get a token minion, then you can sell your current minion on the board or refresh Bob taverns for the cost of 1 mana to get new minions. But in general, you don't want to roll in the early game because most of these minions won't be good later in the game. Just buy the most stats you can with this turn. On turn 4, you'll have 6 gold so you can buy 2 more minions, and on turn 5, you'll have 7 gold so you can buy 1 minion and upgrade your tavern tier. On turn 6, things get interesting. You've got a lot of options with the 8 gold you get. If you've got some synergy with your minions, you could go for a powerful early game build. But we'll talk about that right after this, so just keep that in the back of your mind. You could also go for triples if you're feeling like it, or you could just get better minions on the board. But what you want the most is to get the most stats you can on the board. Turn 7 is the last turn before you stop following this pattern. You have 9 gold, so buy a minion and upgrade your tavern tier. Of course, there are heroes with hero powers which don't follow this pattern, and sometimes other circumstances where you can do something else. But in general, this is what you should do in the first few turns of Battlegrounds. From there, you're free to strategize however you want. But here's the thing though. It'd be great to always build into one tribe every game, but most of the time that's not even possible. What you'll need to learn is how to shift your build mid-game and not get tunnel vision into one build. Here's what I mean. I just said that getting synergy builds with one minion tribe is best if you want to win in Battlegrounds, and that's true. If you're a leprechaun, the truth is getting pure synergy builds with a single minion tribe from the start of the game to the end of the game is extremely difficult. And if you're in the early game and you get tunnel visioned into one specific build, then when you start upgrading your tavern and seeing better minions, you won't be able to sell your minions because when you do, your entire build will fall apart. That's why especially in the early game, you'll want to buy minions for tempo. That means getting the most stats you can on the board. You don't want to fall into traps where you pick a minion purely because it synergizes with other minions on your board. Doing this can make your build stuck in one position, where selling any minion makes your board fall apart. And when you start upgrading tavern tiers, you'll fall behind and get run over. A lot of the time, especially in the early game, pure stats are good, but you also need to know when you gotta take a risk or commit to something. This is where the fun in Battlegrounds comes from. Is tripling a tavern 1 minion really gonna give you that much more of an advantage compared to just getting a solid minion? Can you take a risk leveling up against a weaker opponent? You'll start learning what's best the more you play. But for now, here's a few tips to help you get better. The first thing you'll notice is that you can buy a Battlegrounds perk pack for 2,000 gold, or for whatever your favorite real life money is. Personally, I wouldn't buy it at first, especially if you like playing other game modes. Buying the perk pack gives you only 2 more heroes to choose from at the start, the ability to see your past boards in games, and some emotes. Nothing valuable enough for me to spend $20, but if you do, I'm only judging you a little bit. Don't worry about your rating, no one can see it anyways. Yeah, the other players do get more difficult as the ranks get higher, but there are also people who will queue Battleground lobbies together and tag team everyone, so there's not really much you can do about it. In the end, it's just a number. Don't take that out of context. You can only have a maximum of 10 cards in your hand. That means if your hand is full of coins or blood gems or minions or whatever else you got, then you won't be able to buy minions without getting rid of them. There are actually a limited number of minions in each game of Battlegrounds. This means if a player has an Imp Mama in their hand or on the board, then that Imp Mama is inaccessible to other players and there's one less Imp Mama available for you to get. You have to wait until that player dies before it gets put back into the minion pool. This also means you can look at other players' most common minion type and decide if you want to build into that minion tribe or if you want to back out and choose one where there's less competition for minions. Once a player dies, they'll turn into Kel'Thuzad, which means you'll fight the last warband they had. Use this turn wisely because you might be able to get a quick tavern tier upgrade or transition build for little or no damage at all. And if you want to get better, watch some Battlegrounds Hearthstone YouTubers and streamers. Twitch is swarming with Hearthstone people and you'll find your favorite Hearthstone streamer there in no time. And it better be me! You little piece of Check out these videos right here if you want more Hearthstone guides. I do Hearthstone guides, challenges, and deck videos right here on YouTube, so if that's what you're into, then you should subscribe. If you want Hearthstone coaching and other perks to my content, then check out my Patreon too. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you around.